Hey everybody, and welcome to a video introduction that I'm only going to do once. If this turns out to be flawed, then it shall remain flawed. So, I do a lot of different things. I work out, I work at a restaurant, I work for other people, I do photography recently, I have learned editing, I have gotten a new home courtesy of my job, I have learned to drive a vehicle, I have bettered myself in almost every way from my humble beginnings when I was between the ages of 18 and 24. Well, I am currently 30 years old. It's hard to believe, but I'm 30. And I am surprised I made it to 30 at all. My life hasn't exactly been the best life possible, but it has changed greatly in the last few years. And if I had to give one piece of advice to anyone out there who is looking to better themselves and genuinely wants to improve themselves and the world, I would say this one fact. If you're not hurting anyone and you're not causing chaos, continue to be yourself, but be the best version of yourself you can possibly be. It doesn't matter if you have a disability. It doesn't matter if you have a mental disability or mental, physical, etc. If you can persevere through any type of hardship and look at the greater parts of things and be optimistic, I do believe a lot of people can achieve things they want to achieve realistically. I'm not going to go ahead and say that if you have a severe handicap, if you have a severe problem or circumstances just put you in a bad limelight or a bad situation overall, that you can immediately get out of it with perseverance and optimism alone. That sometimes isn't the case. But a lot of people ask me, how do you stay so chipper and happy all the time when realistically the world is beating you down? Well, I know there's a lot going on with the world as of late, and I know as a 30-year-old man, I should be concerned with all that, and I am. But I don't get into politics. I don't try to get into debates or anything like that. I try to look at the realistic side of things, and I try to find the truth in matters. And aside from that aspect of me, the biggest thing that I have to say about myself is the fact that I'm just overly optimistic. But coming from someone who's always happy, who's always smiling, that can get difficult. And fruitless optimism is probably not the best way to express yourself, but if you genuinely enjoy what you do and you genuinely want to improve yourself, honestly, be however you want to be. People are going to judge you one way or another. If they judge you in a good light, great. If they judge you in a bad light, not so great. However, if they're judging you based on false information, if they're judging you just on appearance or nationality or race or whatever, and they don't judge you by your actions, then their opinions really don't matter too much. And a lot of people ask me, well, you've had a rough childhood, you have had a rough upbringing, How did you stay so optimistic through it all? Well, it's just how I am. I was born with a disability that prevented me from being perfectly normal. I was born with multiple problems throughout my entire system. By system, I mean body. And I could be one of those people that lets it get me down 100% and be someone who just wallows in their own sadness. Or I could be someone that's outgoing and friendly and positive to the people around me and the world in general. I don't have to be always positive. You're going to have those days when you wake up and you look into the mirror and say, I don't feel like being happy today. And you know what? That's all right. If you're not causing any problems, you're not being a dick to everyone around you, and you just keep your unhappy feelings right here until you need to let it out to someone, that's fine, in my opinion. It's not good to be unhappy all the time. It's not good to keep your emotions bottled up into a tiny bottle of jar. I don't know. But it's okay to wake up one day and say, I don't feel like being overly happy to everyone I meet. I just want to focus on myself. That's perfectly fine. Everyone needs that one day, or maybe even 1 week, or maybe even 1 month, where they're like, I think I've helped enough people. I think I've been outward enough. Let me be inward for a little while and just contemplate, just chill. But there's also a difference between being inward and calm, collected inside, and then having an outward anger or outward, I should say, what's the word I'm looking for? Aura. And push that upon other people. My dad used to say one thing, and well, he actually said 3 things. I will never tolerate a thief. I will never tolerate a liar. And always be yourself. And the final thing he always touted was, if you don't have anything nice to say, sometimes it's better not to say anything at all. And in this day and age, if you're not open with everyone around you, people are going to be like, man, that guy's weird. Man, that guy doesn't express himself. He must be an outcast. Let's avoid him. He must have a dark past or ill-advised thoughts or something like that. And that's not the case for everyone. There's plenty of wonderful people in this world, and I always look at people's actions rather than their appearance, their race, their nationality. And, you know, that's worked out for me. I'm no saint by any means. I don't think there's a single person on this planet that could be called a saint. No matter what your, thoughts on everything is or are, no one, if someone says I'm perfect in every way, chances are they're not perfect in every way. The best way I can describe this is actually from one of my favorite shows called Frasier. So 1993 Frasier. So Niles Crane and Daphne Moon have a relationship, and it was built upon years of affection from one side, Niles. So Niles, for several years, looked upon Daphne in this perfect, wonderful light. He saw no wrong on her part, none at all. And when they finally got together and she was gaining weight, he only saw the perfect side of Daphne, the cultivated personality that he set in himself. And the funny thing is, when you see someone and you look at them and you see only their perfections, you almost always will completely ignore all of their flaws. But their flaws are still there. Well, anyway, their relationship started to break apart until Niles realized he needed to tell Daphne the flaws she had, and in turn, she told him the flaws he had. Well, if you genuinely care about someone, you're not going to immediately dismiss them because of their innate flaws. You're going to try to either slowly remove those flaws over the course of time, or you're going to look past some of the minor, irrelevant flaws and just love them for who they are. Well, there is a point where you need to notice flaws, otherwise you completely allow those flaws to overcome someone's personality or character. A good example from this is my mom was a severe alcoholic. Well, for years I ignored the fact that she was an alcoholic and just went about my everyday life. And when I could have pointed out that she was slowly having trouble, I could have pointed her that character flaw out and said to her, "Mom, I think you have a problem. You should try to help yourself before it's too late." Well, my mom wasn't exactly the friendliest person, so it wouldn't have worked out that way. But that's a good example of a character flaw that you might need to address and fix before it consumes someone. But that's the whole topic about that. But I have been kind to everyone I meet for 30 years. I wasn't always super kind to everyone I meet, though. I used to be a little rapscallion that was relatively violent overall. And part of that was because I was a wee little lad and didn't know the consequences in life. And also I didn't have a job, I didn't have any form of real income aside from allowance or doing odd work here and there, mostly mowing grass for people, which I still do to this day. But I didn't know the reality of life. I always saw the fantasy side of it. And that's okay. It's okay to have a fantasy side about the world and have fun with it. You can always have fun with the world. You can always do things that interest you and benefit you and maybe benefit people around you and just enjoy the world. But there are times where you're going to have to sit down and say, "Damn, I see the flaws of the world, and it's time to actually use my brain and think about how to live in this world." So there's the fantasy side of the world, the glamour, the fun, the TikToks about dancing people, the jokes, the internet, video games, movies, friends, all that good stuff. And then there's the realistic side of the world where it's the tariffs, president, the war, the economy, gas prices, but all that stuff. And you need to learn how to separate those two. Fantasy world, real world. You can live in your fantasy world, but eventually you're going to have to come out of that fantasy world and into the real world at some point in your life. As a kid, I was in that fantasy world where I didn't give a damn about anything around me. But once I turned about 14 or 15, I started realizing that there's some really good things in the world that you should probably keep an eye on. And I made a vow to myself. Always stay positive, always stay friendly, and always do your best to help those around you, no matter the outcome. Because if you're looking to help someone and you're looking for monetary gain, then you're genuinely not trying to help that person. You're just trying to get something from them, be it praise, be it money, be it fame, be it the recognition of everyone around you seeing you help that person. That's why, no offense to anyone, but that's why sometimes when you see those videos online of people walking up to a homeless person and giving them $100, or people taking a picture and then showing the picture to the like person who didn't look too great without the picture, but they give the picture to them and they're like, oh my God, I look so gorgeous, I look so handsome, blah blah. That's why sometimes I think that's disingenuous, because number one, you are viewing that image, you are viewing that video or whatever, and you are feeling emotional for that person. But you're also thankful that the person who helped them got that recognition from the person they're helping. So both the person being helped and the person doing the helping get something from that interaction. It's not always 100% genuine. But if you just walk up to someone and give them a bottle of water, no cameras, no nothing, you just want to do it because you want to do it, that's genuine. You wanted to help that person, so you reached out and you helped that person. And something I struggle with is when people help me, I have to help them back. And you don't always need to do that. Like, if you are reaching out to someone and you're trying to help them, and then you expect nothing in return, they should not feel guilty for allowing you to help them. And I know I should be like that, but when I see everyone around me band up and help me, it makes me want to help everyone back. And I've always been like this, because I was raised to do the better thing, to do the right thing. When I was a kid, I didn't always do the right thing. I was no saint by any means. But as I grew older and I understood the world, the whole point of me trying to do the right thing was more apparent than just doing what I wanted to do. Now, I still like to do what I want to do. I go to work. I work my 8-9 hours a night, and sometimes I work doubles. And I get home. I go to the gym where I am now. I work out. I go home, I play a few video games before I go to bed. I wake up, I go around my town, I help the people I can, I'm always friendly, and then I go to work. Rinse and repeat. And yes, I do work for people for a monetary gain. I don't do anything for free normally. However, my dream in life is to finally be able to be, at the point where I can give back to my community rather than always having the community give to me. And that is where I am at this current moment in time. Because sometimes I'm sad and mopey, sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm overly happy, and sometimes I just don't want to exist anymore. We all get like that. But it's how you deal with that makes you the kind of person you want to be. And I'm not saying people who have depression issues or any kind of mental issue should just get over it. That's not what I'm trying to say. But some people who are depressed let themselves get more depressed. And sometimes I get like that, where I'm getting so unmotivated, so not interested, that I become a husk of my former self. And that is something I never want to be. It's like this YouTube channel where you're seeing this, discussion on my thoughts and opinions. I made this YouTube channel because I wanted to do gaming content. I made this YouTube channel because I wanted to have an expression of some form of art. And I made this YouTube channel because, honestly, I just wanted to have a little part of the world where I could just be myself. Sometimes people don't like when you're yourself. You might come across as weird or obnoxious or maybe even a little bit flawed. And that is fine. Like I said, if you're not hurting anyone, if you're not causing chaos, and you're being the best you can be whoever you want to be. And at this point, I am conflicted because I want to be the best version I want to be, but I also want to sometimes tone it down a little bit. Go back to the real side. See, I remember the fantasy side of the world and the realistic side of the world. I am in between that. I know the real side of the world and I know the fantasy side of the world. And I'm teetering between both of those sides. I haven't actually picked one. I can remain in the fantasy side and be all happy and spontaneous and go home and just play video games and not have a care in the world. But you also got the realistic side of things: gas, money, bills, income, proper work ethic, stuff like that. Well, I'm in between. And that should make me sad all the time, but no, I think I found a good balance. But the key is to keep that balance, because if you get overly drawn into the real side of things, you will eventually get beaten by it. Anyone who's worked a long, exhausting 10 to 12-hour job knows what I'm talking about. Like, you're so invested in the real side of the world, making money, making gains, making like good financial decisions, trying to keep a family together, trying to like live in the harsh reality of the world. You get beaten by it, and then you turn sour eventually. Some people don't let the world get to them. I'm one of those people normally. But the people who stay in their fantasy side of the world, again, not trying to pick on anyone, this is just my opinions, but those that stay in the fantasy side of the world, like the YouTubers that, like the streamers and all that kind of stuff, where they're living in this seemingly perfect world and nothing goes wrong in their perfect world. Well, that's the world we see. We don't see the harsh reality of their side of the world. We just see the perfect fantasy world that they've created. Well, that's a good example. You see a fantasy and you want to live in that fantasy world, but you don't see the reality behind that fantasy. But I am in between. I like the real world, but I don't want to live in it. I like the fantasy world, but I don't want to always stay in it. So I like to stay in between, neutral, as I call it. A lot of people say, why don't you ever get angry or upset at anything? And I'm like, well, a long time ago I was angry and upset at a lot of things, and that got me down. And I could remain angry and upset about those things, but do I really want to be angry and upset about those things all the time? And yeah, I can be like that, but I choose not to. Some people think I'm weird and obnoxious. You know what? I'm not harming anyone. That's absolutely fine by me. But you also can't let the, worries get to you as well. If people judge you, and they're judging you harshly for no reason at all, you've done nothing wrong, you're not hurting anyone, you're not being a pest to society, and you're still a good person, you're still trying to make your way in the world, and like I said, you're not harming anyone, don't worry about what they say. Now, if close friends and family come in and want to engage with you and discuss things with you, maybe better, give their opinions, maybe listen to that. Maybe listen to close friends and family, because sometimes those close friends and family can see things that you could be doing better, or see things that maybe you shouldn't be doing at all. So that type of opinion and criticism might be a little bit valid. But the random people around you, no one really cares about what you do. And those that do either are trying to be a good Samaritan or trying to engage with you. Maybe they just want to be friends with you. Maybe they want to judge you because they think you're doing something wrong. Well, if you're not actually doing anything wrong and they just want to judge you because they want to judge you, ignore them. Or try to ignore them. I can't say you can ignore everyone who wants to do you wrong, but put aside your opinions of disgruntlement and try to look into their eyes and say, I'm sorry, I'm just being me. Now that's the fantasy way of approaching that, but the realistic way is probably just to say, I'm sorry, let me go about my business, and I'm sorry I bothered you. But yeah, I'm a happy guy. I plan to be a happy guy for the future. I plan to continue doing YouTube for as long as I can. I plan to make massive gains at the gym for as long as I can. And I plan to better myself mentally and physically for as long as I can. I can't promise that the world will be the best place to live forever. I can't promise the world will become perfect and be a perfect utopia. But I can promise that I can be the best version of myself that I can be. And I bet you, if you really try, could also be the best version of you that you want to be. But I've been wanting to post a video like this for a long time because, you know what, I have a lot of opinions, I have a lot of thoughts, and I've always sat down and said to myself, damn, this recording doesn't look right. Oh, damn, the audio quality is terrible. Oh, the lighting is bad. Or, oh, I have to write a script. I'm doing this without a script. I'm doing this completely from my heart, from my soul, so to speak. And some people might disagree with everything I've said. Some people might agree with everything I said. And that is completely fine. You're you. And you know what? That's fine as well. Sometimes. People probably get what I mean by that. But I'm not a realist, but I'm not a fantasy liver either. I am not an idealist. I might be a mixture of all those things together, but as far as I know, I'm just one lone guy doing what he can in the world, trying to make a difference. And that's all anyone can do. However, be positive, do the best you can, and enjoy life when you can. Take care, everybody. See you in the next one.